Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Family Matters with Instructor Mike. I am your host, Instructor Mike, and we are going to continue with our Are You Qualified series. We're talking about common toddler problems and solutions, essential parenting skills to address developmental challenges and build competent, confident children in the critical toddler years. Let's dive into it. So, the contents for this one, we're understanding toddlers, why toddlerhood is designed to be challenging, and what the developmental science tells us. Second, common problems and skills, 10 major toddler challenges and the specific parenting skills needed to address them. Three, training and resources, where to develop these essential parenting skills and get proper preparation for success. And four, are you qualified? An assessment of readiness and the importance of skill based parenting over reactive approaches. Let's continue. They are not giving you a hard time, they're having a hard time, and they're testing your capacity to parent with skill, not just reaction. This fundamental insight reminds us that toddler behavior challenges are developmental opportunities that require trained responses, not reactive discipline, to guide healthy growth and emotional regulation. So let's understand toddler development fundamentals. The developmental reality, toddlerhood, which is that period between 12 and 36 months, it brings rapid brain growth, emotional explosions, and growing independence. These challenges are normal developmental milestones, not behavioral problems requiring punishment. In terms of brain development, again, we talked about this before. The prefrontal cortex is underdeveloped, meaning toddlers cannot self regulate emotions. They need to borrow from your nervous system for co regulation. Here's a question. And again, not your fault. What you're taught, no shame, no criticism. How's your nervous system for co regulation, right? Let's look at autonomy building. They test boundaries, they will say no. And testing boundaries and saying no, excuse me, sorry about that, supports healthy ego development and independence, requiring patient guidance rather than control. Yep, we're doing it live, so you caught that. But they're gonna test boundaries and say no. That's that period called negativism, right? And that is very important. It's important for them to test boundaries. Okay, let's continue. So here's the skill based parenting approach. If you followed me before, you've understood that I am of the belief, okay, the opinion, the theory that parenting is a vocation, not just something you do because you have children. That's the assumption of responsibility. But can you apply that skill or that responsibility responsibly? Skill based parenting approach, training over intuition. Parenting requires specific skills and training, just like any other important profession or responsibility in life. Strategy over reaction. Effective parenting uses research backed strategies and techniques rather than emotional reactions to challenging behaviors. We like to prevent things from occurring that we know are going to happen. These problems, they are predictable. They are predictable problems. And looking at prevention over crisis, skilled parenting prevents problems through preparation and understanding rather than managing crisis after they occur. And that's what happens when you have the approach, again, not your fault. It's what you were taught. When you have the approach of, well, there's no manual for parenting. Let's do away with that, shall we? Let's continue. Problem number one, tantrums and emotional outburst. This picture is courtesy of the thoughtful parent helping kids cope with big emotions. Well, we talked about that before, right? Do we want to talk about just emotions or problem solving skills? Problem solving skills, that's important. The skill needed, emotional coaching, if necessary, co regulation techniques that help toddlers borrow your calm nervous system. The prefrontal cortex is underdeveloped, so they cannot self regulate emotions yet and need your guidance. What do we do with that guidance, though? Well, I encourage you to listen to my previous episode of Teaching Them the Fix Before the Feel, why naming emotions can actually be more problematic because emotions. Do we need them for this particular situation? Under the theory of constructed emotion, we are not born with emotions. We are born with our senses, the sense of touch, taste, hearing, sight, and smell. What do you see? What do you hear? What's the issue? How can I help you fix that? What would you like for me to do? What would you like for me to teach you how to do? Right? All these things are important. But without this skill, you escalate instead of guide. You teach the child fear based responses or power struggle dynamics rather than healthy emotion regulation and communication skills, and even problem solving skills. They need that. They need that. Here we go. Problem number two, defiance and saying no. Now, we know not every parent likes to hear no, right? But it's important for them to say no. A child who can't say no becomes a child parent pleaser who then grows up to become an adult people pleaser. So let's talk about the skill needed: consistent boundaries, respectful firmness that honors autonomy development. Eric Erickson's research in his psychosocial theory of development, it shows this stage is critical for healthy ego development versus shame and doubt, right? The first stage is trust versus mistrust. That we talked about that in the last Are You Qualified series in common infant problems. Now we're going into toddlerhood, and that's at the stage two, autonomy versus shame and doubt. Let's think about it. So if you take your child to an early learning center or you take them to a daycare, the furniture is where? At their level. The environment, according to Yuri Bronfenbrenner in his ecological systems theory, he talks about the microsystem. Does the microsystem invite and support children sitting in chairs that are at their height, putting up clothes in closets that are at their height, putting in the coats and the things from outside inside that's at their height? They want to hang things up. They want to sit at the table. They want to sit in chairs that are for them. Does the environment invite autonomy for them to try and practice? If you think about it, again, no shame, no criticism, but let's look at your house. If you're watching this at home, take a moment to walk around your house. But I would even invite you to do that on your knees. Take off your shoes and put them on your knees, right? You know how if you've ever used to see Martin and how he would be his grown adult self, but he would act like the little snotty nosed kid, right? And he would be on his knees. Yeah, do that. And then walk around your house on your knees and ask yourself, if I were a little child, does this environment invite me to sit on the big people's couch, at the big people's table, on the big people's chairs? No, in fact, this environment invites me to make dangerous climbs. The environment invites you to say no because you don't want to get your child hurt. But could you have gotten furniture that's at their height, at their level? Could you have dinner time at their height, at their level? In the early learning environment, when it's dinner time, when it's snack time, we, the early childhood educators, we have to have dinner, or not dinner, but lunch and snack at their height. We have to sit in their chairs. We have to do things at their level, right? It's not for the child to adjust to the society, it's for the society to adjust to the child in trying to grow the child. Come on now. Without this skill, you may overcorrect and shame, or undercorrect and foster entitlement. Both extremes prevent healthy independence and self confidence from developing properly. Again, not your fault. It's what you were taught. Give yourself grace. I do. Let's go. Let's look at problem three: potty training resistance. Skills needed: readiness recognition, right? Understanding the physiological and emotional readiness signals, positive reinforcement strategies that align with the child's developmental timeline rather than parent convenience. Now, without that skill, you push them too soon, it increases power struggles. They have regression. What does that mean? Whatever progress you might have achieved, regression is the opposite of that. Constipation and chronic resistance that can persist long term and damage the parent child relationship, right? Come on now, you can do it. Let's go. Problem number four: hitting, biting, and aggression. Hmm. The skill needed, impulse control teaching, not expecting them to be able to control their impulses. That resides within the prefrontal cortex. And what do we say about the prefrontal cortex? That it is currently what? That's right, evolving, it's developing nonviolent communication strategies and modeling. Mirror neurons make your responses critical. Discipline, that's teaching. It must teach appropriate behavior, not punish natural development phases. They don't have impulse control. So, no, they don't have patience. Oh, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that, right? Patience is very important. Without this skill, aggression may escalate as the primary communication method, and empathy development may be stunted, leading to long term social and emotional difficulties. And empathy is defined as seeing or placing yourself in the shoes of another person, right? That's empathy. I understand what this would be like because I've been through it. That's sympathy. Or I haven't been through it, but I can imagine what it would be like. But are we seeing performative empathy or transformative empathy? What is performance empathy? Performance empathy happens when you make a person see the shoes of another person and the experiences of another person without helping them understand their own experiences, right? We're gonna dive into that. I gotta dive into that. I gotta dive more into that because that's a lesson unto itself. A lot of us have to reparent ourselves, and we're gonna do that here. Let's go. Problem number 5. That origami. Y'all like that slide transition? I know I do. Here we go. Problem number 5: sleep struggles in bedtime. The skill that's needed, routine creation, soothing transitions, and anxiety management techniques. Sleep regressions are biologically timed with brain growth spurts and require patience and consistent responses. So there are going to be times where they're going to want to go to bed and they're not going to want to go to bed, and it's going to ebb and flow, right? You need to understand that. But without that skill, bedtime battles become entrenched patterns. Dysregulated sleep cycles affect mood and development, creating ongoing stress for the entire family system. Let's dive into problem number 6: picky eating and mealtime battles. The skill needed, exposure over force. Exposure over force. I like this thing called the 2 bite club. I learned that when I was in one of these child development classes. Shouts out to I'm trying to think the professor's name. It'll come to me. I'll give him that shout out again. He was a Julian Lomax. That's what his name is. Julian Lomax, City Colleges of Chicago. Shouts out to him. He was a great child development professor, child development 120. Not 120, but 109. One of them that talks about health safety. I forgot the course number, but health safety and nutrition. Very, very important. The 2 bite club, the 2 bite club. The skill that is needed, exposure over force, modeling food variety and reducing pressure using, again, Satter's division of responsibility model. Sensory integration and oral development require patience and time. I like the 2 bite model or the 2 bite club where, can we at least encourage them? Hey, can you take 2 bites of that? And then, after the 2 bites, if you don't like it, you can throw the rest away. At least the 2 bites, okay, I can do 2 bites. And it gives them exposure to new types of food, right? That is important. But without that skill, power struggles develop around food, potentially leading to disordered eating habits, food anxiety, and ongoing mealtime conflicts that affect family dynamics. Don't go to an early learning center. You think your child's going to be eating a bunch of stuff that you cook at home? No, 9 times out of 10, they got the food program. And with that food program, they have to go according to, was it myplate.gov or something like that, where they have to get the vegetables, the wheat, the grains, the fruit, stuff like that. So no, they're not eating, bad, so to speak. They're eating pretty healthy, and that's what they need to be exposed to. But again, this may vary by daycare depending upon where you go, right? So let's go. Problem number 7: difficulty sharing and taking turns. Oh, let's have a talk on this. The skill that's needed, social script coaching, modeling sharing behavior, and coaching peer interactions. Egocentrism is developmentally normal at this stage, and empathy gradually develops through experience. Please, I encourage you. If you don't have the resources for the child, that is not the child's fault. That if there are more than one, if there is more than one child there, there are a bunch of children there, they're not going to want to share. If you got just a set of blocks and all the kids want to play with the blocks, you're going to have struggles. That's why they have multiple centers, right? But I always encourage daycare providers, early learning centers to have more than one types of toy, maybe 3 or 4, so that way if you buy more than just that one, you can then give that child the same type toy that they like, and it'll decrease. I didn't say eliminate, it will decrease the likelihood of these fights. So that way we can have a different conversation. Well, you said you wanted this truck. Here is the same truck. You have both the same truck. So I'd like to hear from you. If you care to share it, if you don't care to share, that's fine. What is your reason now for wanting to fight over this truck? Well, I want his truck. Okay, so let's talk about manners. You can ask him, can we swap trucks? It's the same kind of truck. Maybe he would be willing to do that for you if you ask. And you see how my voice changed? The way you talk to a child absolutely matters. Why? Harvard Center for the Developing Child talks about the research. If you shout at that child, that prefrontal cortex is developing, but one thing that is definitely there, the amygdala, fight, flight, freeze, and emotions. So the minute you shout at that child begins to fear you. So now they're not learning. They're just reacting, answering if they choose to answer, and they're trying to survive. Yes, they can be afraid of their trusted big person, right? So we don't want to shout. You see how with my voice, what do you hear? A lot of why is it in romantic situations? It's okay to taste the rain, but we don't use that same that same skill towards children. So just take a deep breath, calm down, and just speak through the breath. Just speak through the breath. Oh, you'll find it so calming within you, right? You don't have to fight if you don't want to. In fact, I encourage you not to. You got both the same toy. So, Derek, would you want to swap with Timothy? Timothy, you could swap with Derek. That way, you're sharing without sharing. Look at that. You're sharing without sharing. It reminds me, and then we're going to move on. It reminds me of what veteran FBI hostage negotiator Chris Voss said. It's tactical empathy, letting the other side have your way. What is the other side having your way? Well, you want the fight to stop. Let's talk facts. That's your way. But the other side wants to play with the toy. Well, let them swap the same toy because the toys don't belong to any of them, but they do because it's their school, it's their environment. We respect it, it's their stuff, but you got more than one thing. So they're swapping and now they're playing with the same toy. And now what did they learn? They learned sharing, right? And they learn taking turns. But see, it's crazy work to have them share when there's just one thing, right? As an adult, don't you want to have your things? So as an adult, if you want to have your things, what makes you think a child doesn't want to have their things, right? That's how you get to the point. And there is a beautiful book. Oh my God. There is a beautiful book called A Million Yeses. I encourage you to get that book, A Million Yeses. And I'll give you the synopsis of it. So this child, she has a mountain full of yeses, all different types, different colors, with the word yes, 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 yes. And what happens? People are asking for the yes, and because she's so abundantly, she has an abundant amount of yeses, she starts giving away those yeses. And sometimes you don't see that mountain getting smaller. It's getting smaller. It's getting smaller, and then it becomes a little pile of yes. And it's like, wait a minute. I've been giving away these yeses and I don't have any yeses for me. Yeah, exactly. And so now it's time for yeses for you. And you go to ask these other people, hey, can I get some yeses? But guess what? They were consumers. They have no yeses to give you. So now here you are trying to build your own yeses again. And you tried it and it didn't work. And then you tried it, it didn't work. And then you tried it, it didn't work. And then she decides, I'm going to breathe again. I'm going to relax. I'm going to try to find some different ways to make some yeses. And she does that. And she starts building more yeses, and her pile gets bigger and gets bigger and gets bigger. And other people start coming to ask her for yes. And then she says, no, no, I'm not going to give you my yeses. But here we go. Here is transformational empathy at work. Come on now with me. Come on. I'm going to teach you how to build your own yes. Oh, I love that. Come on now. I see the need. I see you want the yes. And I'm not going to give you mine, but I'll teach you how to build your own. Oh, those who did not want to do the work, what did they do? They walked away. They walked away, right? Because a consumer is going to keep consuming so long as you keep giving what you're willing to give away. But the minute you say no, you'll find out who your real friends are. But there were some who stayed around. And those who stayed around who wanted to learn how to do for self, she taught them how to do, and they began to build their pile of yeses. I love that book. Oh, I love that book. And that would be a great social script, right? But without this skill, unrealistic expectations lead to mislabeling normal behavior as selfish or problematic, potentially damaging the self concept and delaying social skill development. Oh, I hope you enjoyed that. Let's go on ahead and continue. All right, here we go. Problem number 8, stranger anxiety and clinginess. The skills needed, secure base parenting. What does this require? This requires that you address your adverse childhood experiences. This requires that you address who are you in the room? Who are you in the room, right? Two broken locks cannot secure each other. Just close your eyes and imagine that. Two broken locks cannot secure each other. The child isn't necessarily broken or isn't broken at all. The child is just insecure and unsafe. Well, they just got here. They just got here. Come on, they're 2 years old. They just got here, right? So our goal is to try to help them become secure, right? But if the parent is insecure because your body is that of an adult, but your mind, and again, not your fault. It's what you've been taught. It's what you've been through. So let's go through it, right? Here we go. If you have an unaddressed child within the inside of you, how can you secure your child without working on you? Gradual separation strategies that build confidence, social, emotional security develops from consistent, safe caregiving relationships that honor attachment needs. I encourage you to go get my book. Go get my book, What I Tell Myself First, Children's Real World Affirmations of Self-Esteem. Children's Real World Affirmations of Self-Esteem. So important. Why is it so important? Not because I said it, right? Because it is my book, but affirmations that help heal the inner child within you. I must love me first. I must be selfish before I am selfless. You can't give to your child when you don't give to yourself. And as you're reading this to your child, you are reading these things to yourself. Okay. Without this skill, pushing independence too quickly can prolong anxiety and delay healthy social development, while overprotection can limit confidence building opportunities. Let's go. Problem number 9, speech delays and communication frustration. Oh my God. The early that you get to reading to your children, I encourage you to get the book, get the audio book, 30 Million Words Building a Child's Brain by Dr. Dana Suskind. It is an outstanding book. The skill needed, responsive language modeling, joint attention activities, and repetitive language exposure. Vocabulary growth requires consistent, responsive interaction and patient modeling of communication patterns. But without this skill, unmet communication needs lead to behavioral outbursts and frustration. Language delays can compound when emotional needs aren't understood and addressed appropriately. Look, I cannot emphasize how important it is for children to learn how to read, to know how to read. It is so important. The science of reading is very important. It is very important. A good percentage of the issues that I deal with my adult education platform is because they don't have the reading skills, the comprehension skills, the let's get to the main points. There's a lot of basic skills that they are missing, and they've just been passed through the educational system. And so the frustration that leads to a lot of conflict as adults comes from the absence of those basic skills. And there's only so many things that the schools can teach you. And if the parents, come on now, I'm not shaming you. Please don't feel any shame. Don't feel any shame. Just it's very, very important that you give children can you all see a pattern? Can you see how a good percentage of these problems can be actually taken care of if we just study child development before we have children, study in family consumer sciences before we have children, study family law before we have children? These things have always been available. They've always been available. Come on, let's go. And lastly, problem number 10, unsafe curiosity and exploration. Safe curiosity and exploration is absolutely needed, but unsafe curiosity and exploration, no. The skill needed, child proofing and redirection, environmental safety planning with positive guidance strategies. Curiosity drives essential sensory motor learning that supports cognitive and physical development. Make sure you learn how to child proof your place. Make sure you learn how to childproof your place. You got to take these classes. This stuff is so important because you'll find yourself saying no. You, oh my God, you will find yourself saying no to things that you don't need to say no to, right? If that plug was plugged with a plastic plug-in for the electrical socket, right? Don't put that knife in there. Why is that a thing that is able to? Why is that able to occur? Because you did not childproof your place, right? The environment is not safe for your child without this skill. What does it do? You overuse no, and it stifles natural exploration and learning, while unsafe environments create constant stress and limit healthy developmental experiences. Make the place safe. Make the place safe. Let's go. Here we go. Training resources for essential parenting skills. 10 key problems, 10 skills required, 25 plus learning resources. 100% success is possible. Let's look at emotional regulation, right? Learn co-regulation techniques and emotional coaching for tantrums, skill building. Let's help them build skills, right? Anxiety. Why would you be anxious? You're anxious about what you don't know, what you don't understand. And behavioral outbursts through proven methods, right? Proven methods of how we teach them co-regulation. I am not a fan when early childhood educators say, well, self-regulation. You honestly don't really get, and I'm not the only person that has this opinion. You honestly don't really get to self regulation until you're about 25. You got so much to learn, so much to learn. So give yourself grace, right? Conscious discipline and circle of security program, love and logic parenting courses nationwide. I teach the breakthrough parenting method. Okay. So you can contact me at Mike at instructormike.com. Dr. Laura Markham and Janet Lansbury resources. Let's look at boundary and structure. Develop consistent, respectful boundary setting that supports autonomy while maintaining family safety and cooperation. Positive parenting classes at community centers, online courses by certified parent instructors, yours truly, local family resource center workshops, and then communication and development. Master responsive communication, sleep strategies, feeding guidance, and developmental milestone support for confident parenting. Early intervention and speech therapy resources are important. Pediatric sleep consultants and feeding therapists, child development courses, and parent coaching. Specific learning resources by problem area, where to get the training. Each parenting skill can be learned through research backed programs, certified instructors, and evidence based resources that provide practical strategies and ongoing support. There's emotional and behavioral, the conscious discipline, circle of security, love and logic, breakthrough parenting, Dr. Laura Markham courses, nonviolent communication workshops, early childhood education courses at your local community college. These things are important. Family and consumer life sciences courses. Look this stuff up. It's out there. Okay. For sleep and daily routines. The Happy Sleeper book, pediatric sleep consultants, oh crap, potty training, women, infant, and children nutrition education programs. In terms of communication and development, It Takes Two to Talk by the Hannon Center, early intervention services, parent child play groups, attachment parenting resources. Here we go. My favorite breakthrough parenting classes. I love this program. Now, before I went to go get certified as a breakthrough parenting instructor, I wanted to do research. I didn't want to just take any parent instructor course because I wanted something that was going to dive back into your adverse childhood experiences and what you may not have been taught. I am an Adlerian therapeutic, Reggio Emilia, Montessori, autodidactic educator. What is that's a lot of stuff, right? Adlerian. I subscribe to Alfred Adler, right? Nobody's broken. They could just be miseducated. Our goal is to help them as a teleologist, help them look where they are, maybe do a family systems audit, Boeing family systems theory, things like that, in terms of identifying could your parents have taught you better? Are you in a family, in essence, both maternal and paternal, of people who may have loved you, supported you, fed you, clothed you, got you where you needed to go, provide a little bit of guidance here and there with whatever they could do. But there were a lot of things that they needed to know that they simply could not have provided you because they did not know themselves. They did not know. And you don't know what you don't know, and you can't give from what you don't know. Your family could be a family of empty cups. Let's say that again. Family of empty cups. So if you just look at your cupboard, go to your cupboard. Oh my God. When you go to your cupboard, because what the hand does, the mind remembers. Open up that cupboard, specifically where the cups are. Look at those cups, those mugs, those jars, those glasses, different types, different shapes, different textures, if you will. Some smooth, some rough, some you got from a field trip someplace, right? But they are all what? Empty. Can those empty cups give you anything? Absolutely not. You got those cups in a safe place, all things considering, but they can't give you anything because there's nothing there. You have to have things to pour into that cup and then to receive, be able to receive from that cup. Do you see that? That reciprocity. I give to you, you give to me. Right? Come on now. Let's go. So the breakthrough parenting for me, it's awesome because it's beyond positive parenting buzzwords. One of the few programs that actually trains the parent to grow, not just the child. Hello, right? It teaches about growth and development. It teaches about emotional control and power with your child, not power over them. That's developmentally appropriate parenting practices in action. And I invite you to go look at the other episode that I talk about developmentally appropriate parenting practices. In early childhood education, we spend a lot of time talking about developmentally appropriate practices when there's developmentally appropriate parenting practices, the things that you do in the 1,095 days before your child ever touches a daycare or a preschool environment, right? Why is it DAPP aligned or super DAP? It's based in developmental psychology. It teaches power with instead of power over parenting. It focuses on mutual respect, inner maturity, and strategic communication rather than just obedience based approaches. When you look at what makes breakthrough parenting different, it moves beyond obedience based parenting. It focuses on personal growth of the parent. It emphasizes emotional intelligence, non punitive discipline, and lifelong relationship skills. It encourages understanding child development, not just fixing behavior. And it's best for parents who are looking for long term growth, not just behavior control. Caregivers who grew up in authoritarian homes, who want to break generational cycles of ignorance, punishment, transmission of trauma. It is perfect for co parents learning to work together, step families navigating complex dynamics, and anyone wanting to parent without drama or shame. It is evidence based approach in developmental psychology rooted in child development, real child development. And it's power with parenting, mutual respect, and strategic communication, growing the parent alongside the child. So there are unskilled versus skilled parenting outcomes. With proper skills, children develop emotional regulation, confidence, secure attachment, healthy boundaries, and strong communication abilities for lifelong success. But without that training, power struggles escalate, anxiety increases, behavioral problems persist, and parent child relationships suffer long term damages. Now, the risk of reactive parenting, what happens? Love without skill leads to damage. Untrained responses create cycles of conflict, shame, and missed developmental opportunities. But there are opportunities for growth. Every challenging behavior is a teaching moment when parents have the skills to respond appropriately and supportively. The skilled parenting cycle. We observe and understand development. We recognize that toddler behaviors are normal developmental phases requiring specific skills rather than control or punishment. We understand brain development guides appropriate responses. We learn and practice skills by acquiring evidence based parenting techniques through training and practice and support, not just love. We develop emotional regulation, skills building. Do you know how to teach? Boundary setting and communication abilities, right? They need to happen before crisis occur. And we respond to the needs of our children with strategy. We apply learned skills consistently during challenging moments. Use co regulation skills, respectful boundaries, and developmental understanding to guide rather than to react to behavior. You wouldn't fly a plane without training. So why parent without preparation? Because love without skill leads to damage. And this is a powerful reminder that emphasizes that parenting requires the same level of preparation and skill development as any other important responsibility in life, and that good intentions alone are insufficient for optimal child development. So, your action plan for parenting success. We want to assess your current skills. What do you know how to do now? Honestly, evaluate which of the 10 common toddler problems you feel equipped to handle with skill versus reaction. Choose your training focus. Select 2 to 3 priority skill areas and find specific courses, books, programs to develop these capabilities immediately. You can always reach out to me, Mike at instructormike.com. Mike at instructormike.com. Build your support network, connect with other parents, join classes, and establish relationships with professionals who can guide your development. And then practice and apply skills. Implement learned strategies, consistently track progress, and continue developing your parenting competency over time. Are you qualified? Here's the critical question. The qualification assessment. Parenting qualification isn't measured by the love of your child. It is measured by your trained ability to meet their developmental needs with skills, patience, and evidence based strategies. So here are some self assessment questions. Do you understand normal toddler brain development? Can you co regulate emotions during tantrums? Do you set boundaries with respect and consistency? Do you know how to solve the problem? You can be honest with yourself on that. And here are some warning signs. You frequently react with frustration or anger. Problems escalate rather than improve over time. You rely on punishment rather than teaching. Again, breathe, give yourself grace. Not your fault. It's not your fault. Please don't beat up on yourself because I can feel it. It's not your fault. It's what you were taught. Let's say the affirmations. Let's go. It's not my fault. It's what I was taught. It's not my fault. It's what I was taught. It's not my fault. It's what I was taught. 2 more times. It's not my fault. It's what I was taught. And lastly, it's not my fault. It's what I was taught. But here's the good news. Every parenting skill can be learned and developed. So let's start now. Don't wait for problems to become entrenched patterns. Let's do this for you. Let's do this for your child. They deserve parents equipped for success. The inner child within you deserves the parent that you might have wished you had. So it's time to reparent yourself. It's time. God knows it's time. Transforming challenges into growth opportunities, emotion mastery, co regulate during tantrums with calm presence, teach the words that help you understand how to fix the problem and feeling words if necessary, right? 'Cause we talked about naming the feeling, right? If it's necessary, but we want to focus on skills, 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 skills. I think if you front load them with feeling words before how to solve the problem, they can name the emotion, but they can't fix the issue. That's what keeps them in their feelings. Model emotional intelligence and self control. Let's look at respectful authority. Set consistent boundaries with empathy and firmness. Honor autonomy while maintaining family safety. Use natural consequences rather than punishment. See, these are the things that you learn in breakthrough parenting. Consequences are neither good nor bad. They're either natural or logical. If you do A, B is likely to happen. If you do B, C is likely to happen. It's nothing to shame them over. It's just if you do this, this can happen. That is a consequence, right? Communication excellence. Practice responsive listening and validation techniques. Support language development through patient interaction. Address needs behind challenging behaviors. Here are some success stories. What skilled parenting achieves: emotional security. Children who develop strong emotional regulation skills and even skills to solve the problem. They have the confidence in relationships and the ability to handle stress and challenges with resilience. What did we just talk about? With resilience, you don't know how much you can take until you're given something to hold. We talk about resilience all the time, but then you don't think pressure is going to come with that. How do you know you're resilient, right? How do you know you're resilient? Cooperative relationships, family dynamics become collaborative rather than combative with children, understanding boundaries and participating in routines and developing intrinsic motivation for positive behavior. And then parental confidence. Parents feel equipped and empowered to handle any challenge that arises, reducing stress and guilt while increasing the enjoyment of the parenting journey and family life. The path to parenting excellence. Recognize the need. Acknowledge that parenting requires specific skills and training, just like any other important profession or life responsibility. Commit to learning. Commit to continuously being a learner. Come on, that is just so important. Commit to that. Invest time and resources in developing your parenting competencies through proven programs, courses, and ongoing education, and then transform your family. Experience the joy of confident, skilled parenting that creates secure, capable children and harmonious family relationships. Long-term outcomes of skilled versus reactive parenting. Research consistently shows that skilled parenting approaches lead to better emotional regulation, skills, resilience, stronger parent child relationships, and more positive developmental outcomes for children throughout their lives. Children of trained parents show 40% better emotional regulation and 60% fewer behavioral problems by age 5. We're talking about teaching them how to do things, right? These reactive parenting approaches are not healthy at all. Not healthy at all. We want to break the cycle, the reactive parenting trap. Emotional reactions escalate problems instead of solving them. Power struggles become entrenched patterns over time. Both parent and child experience chronic stress and frustration, but the skilled parenting solution, strategic responses based on developmental understanding and training. Problems become both opportunities for teaching and connection. Family relationships grow stronger through each challenge. Your next steps from awareness to action. Here we go. Immediate assessment and planning. Take honest inventory of your current parenting skills and identify your family's greatest needs for improved responses and strategies. Complete a parenting skills self assessment. I do those self assessments, right? Or I do those assessments. If you can't do it by yourself, I can help you. Complete those assessments, though, to identify priority areas for growth and development. Research local and online training programs that match your schedule, learning style, and budget constraints. Set specific, measurable goals for skill development with realistic timelines and accountability measures. Building support and accountability. Connection with other parents and professionals who can support your journey towards more skilled, confident parenting approaches. Join parent education classes or support groups in your community for ongoing learning and encouragement. Find a parenting mentor, coach, or therapist who can provide personalized guidance and support. Create accountability partnerships with other parents committed to skill based parenting, growth, and development. Being there is good in closing. Being there is good. Being trained is better. Toddlers are too valuable to parent on autopilot. This concluding message reminds us that while love and presence are important foundations, they must be combined with skill and training to give children the quality of parenting they deserve during these critical developmental years. I want to thank you for your commitment. Every child deserves parents equipped with the skills to nurture their development successfully. For more information, you can go to instructormike.com, instructormike.com. And if you want to email me to reach out to me regarding more parenting courses, you can email me at mike@instructormike.com. This is Instructor Mike, and you've been trained. I'll see you.